Hey, what's up? This is Elijah. Thanks for tuning in to Glances. This is how I see it. Today, in on interview with a dad, we got a young man that is pretty intelligent. You know, I consider myself kind of intelligent, but he seems to rise to the occasion above anytime I'm having a conversation. I really appreciate that. He's a member of my church family. His son and my son are friends, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself. And here we have Mr. Bernie Wright. What's up, Bernie? How's it going?
Not a lot, Elijah. Thank you for having me. Hello,
Oh,
everybody, all the viewing public.
that's what's up. Nobody's ever shouted out to the viewing public, man. I think
Oh,
you've been
yeah.
here before.
Well, I hope they're here. You know what I mean?
For sure. Well, this one, one day we will do a live session, but people are going to tune in some way, somehow. So I definitely appreciate you coming on the channel for me to talk about dads, and you as a dad, or if you had a dad, or your influences of those that are around you as father figures. So kind of tell the people about yourself. Who is Bernie?
Yes. Well, I am 34 years old. I work in IT during the day, but my passion is in counseling and discipleship of other people.
Okay.
In high school and college, I started out, studying IT, and then I was trying to do some code in a computer lab. I was just getting really frustrated, and I felt like I heard the Lord say, "Why are you trying to help computers with their problems when I want you to help people?"
Okay.
And I said, "Oh
Okay.
man!" So I changed my major and I started studying psychology,
Oh
and I got my
wow.
degree in that. But while I was in school, I needed to make money, so I was working in the computer lab and I was doing IT anyway just to
Oh wow.
to, to earn money. But my passion the whole time has been in trying to help others,
Okay.
with their life. So,
That's what's
um,
up.
so I earned my master's degree in professional counseling,
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
I was getting ready to step into that whole field, and then I realized, well, with where my family's at right now, I have my wife staying home with the kids. I can't take a 50% pay cut to go be a counseling intern.
Just get some wisdom. I got you.
Yeah, so I said, okay, so let me use all this knowledge and wisdom I have in volunteering and helping others, and
Okay.
doing that, and then I'll just keep working IT during the day. So
Oh, that's cool. So, when did you change so you didn't change your major, but what year in school did you like figure that you wanted to do something different as
that
far
was
as counseling?
Yeah, that was my freshman year in school. I was studying at UT Dallas,
Oh wow.
and the computer code was tearing me up. I said, I don't need to do that.
What? But you finished it. So what's your degree in?
It's in psychology, and then I have a
Oh,
master's
okay.
in professional counseling.
Oh, okay. So you changed the first year, but then you was like, when you graduated, you was like, I can't do counseling. Like it won't pay my bills like that.
Right,
Okay,
right.
okay.
And so a lot of my classmates, they were either retired near retirement already, or they had a spouse that was working, and they could just, do the counseling and get paid like an intern. And I said, I can't do that. I gotta. I didn't realize that until my last semester. I thought, well, I should have thought this
What?
through. But
That's that's funny. So well, let's get into the interview, man. I think we're gonna have some of those conversations as we go through this. So the question I ask everybody: what's your idea or your thought process on being a dad or being a father? What's the difference to you, or if there is a difference between a dad and a father?
absolutely. So a father, um, at its basic level, provided some kind of biological need to create a child. You know,
Okay.
whether
Okay.
it be through like a sperm donor can be a father, or somebody that left their family could technically be a father. But
Mm,
a dad is an endearing term. It's somebody that's invested. It's
okay.
somebody that's involved. It's somebody that um, is really shaping and molding their children and helping disciple them to what they need to be and giving them that discipline that they need. So there's definitely a difference,
Okay.
and at least to me. And some people might say you could flip those terms,
Hmm.
right? Like you
Yeah.
could say a real father is the one that's involved and is
Yeah.
disciplined,
Yeah.
but to me, a dad is something precious that we definitely need more of. We need more strong dads in our
Why you say
communities.
that? Why you say that?
Oh man,
Why you say
so
we need more? I mean, that's a purpose. I mean, everybody has a different thought process on it,
mhm.
you know. But why do you say we need more?
Well, one thing I left out in my introduction was I was a second grade teacher for 2 years, in
Oh, what?
in Irving. So in between working
Wow.
IT and while I was getting my master's,
Okay.
I did the alternative certification
I
for
did that too. Hmm.
yeah. So I taught second grade, and I could just tell a difference, man.
Bless your heart, bro.
Thank you. Yeah, to God be the glory. But He got
I
me out
did
of there.
middle school, and I was man. I was like, I can't. I can do middle school, but I can't. There's no way I could do elementary school.
Yeah, and they told me second grade was the best. They said those kids are so precious and they're sweet. But I said, if this is the best, I'm feeling the
Oh man,
and it,
how long did you stay in that?
a year and a half, a year and a half.
Wait, you quit in the middle of a year?
No, my first year was the middle of the year. So
Oh, okay.
I,
I
yeah, I
thought you
started
said-
out. I was on I was the computer staff at the school, and then I
Okay.
did my alt cert, and an opening opened up, and I started right before Christmas.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
then I could just tell a difference, man. The kids that had mom and dad at home, and mom and dad were involved, versus the kids that only had mom at home trying their best, or
What did
maybe
you
dad
see?
would do what he was supposed to do.
Mm.
And and I could
Okay.
just tell we need more involved dads. Um,
So what did you see? Like when you saying that you saw differences, like
mhm.
can you describe to the people like what was something that stood out to you to know that this kid has mom and dad, but this kid only has mom in the house?
And sometimes it was just how the kids took correction, how they took
Mhm.
um, how they took, for example, being redirected if they were off focus or if they needed to get a task done.
Yeah.
If I now I the wisdom I have now says I need to touch their emotional side more,
Okay.
affirm them better, what they're trying to do, and help guide them. But I was more, hey, this is what I see you doing. This is what I need you to be doing. Let's
Okay.
get there. And
Okay.
and because it wasn't very it wasn't very tender and soft, a lot of them took it the wrong way. But the
Ah, okay.
but the kids that were used to a dad, they got their kind of uh, their cuddles, I guess I could say, from mom,
Yeah,
and they got
sure.
their sternness from dad. Like they understood it, and they still got it, and I could just tell a big difference in how kids took correction.
That makes sense. That makes sense because speaking of that, there was a teacher for my oldest daughter who, at the school she was going to before we started homeschooling, most parents did not like this teacher because
Hmm.
of how strict she was, right? And so when we talked to Gianna about, do you feel like this teacher is strict? She's like, I don't see what they're talking about
Hmm.
because in our household I'm pretty strict and mom is too. So when she got to school and she saw this teacher that was very I guess strict, basically wanted you to do what you're supposed to do. They
Right.
call that strict. Uh, and that she didn't see that there was something to be scared of as other parents that told us, man, you got to be careful about this teacher because she's really mean. So yeah, I get you on that. So when did you become a dad? Do you like how long ago was that? How many kids do you have?
So I have three kids, and my oldest is 9. Oh no, she's 8. She's about to be 9
Okay,
in November, and then
okay,
my son Micah is 6,
okay,
and then Hope is 3. Emma's my oldest at 8,
okay,
and so we were Alicia and I got married in 2010, and we're gonna have our
okay.
anniversary on Friday.
That's what's
So
up. Happy anniversary, bro.
oh, thank you. Yeah, so I think that'll be our 10th anniversary.
Don't think about that, bro. You need to know that.
I always get mixed up. It's like the
Well,
math behind it. I'm like, is this my 9th year or my 10th year? And you know what I mean? So yeah, so this is the 10th year, and
yeah.
then Emma was born a few weeks after our first anniversary. So
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
That's
so
what's up. So, what do you remember? I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something? I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh, yeah, sure. I was just so your question was, so when did I become a dad? I feel like as soon as I knew she was in the womb, I said,
Okay,
okay, now I got to take care of this baby girl. I didn't know she was a girl at the time. I said, I got to
okay.
take care of her mom, and
That's what's up.
yeah,
Okay. So then, uh, do you remember? Some people do, but I know that I remember like when Gianna was first born. Do you remember that day?
absolutely.
Okay, walk us through that day.
Oh man, so I remember we had really planned out a birth plan, and we wanted everything to go a certain way. Alicia had studied all this stuff and uh, been reading blogs and watching videos. And
Yeah,
this doctor was like, "We're gonna have to induce you guys." And so she was like, "Okay." And then inducing is one of the worst things
yeah,
than rather than natural
yeah,
childbirth.
for sure.
So she
Yeah,
went through a lot of pain, and then I remember she asked the nurse, like, "Is it going to get any worse, the pain?" And the nurse scared her and was like, "Oh yeah, it's going to get a lot worse." So
yeah,
we
that happens,
basically,
man.
yeah, so we ended up on the road to a C-section
Yeah.
around 8 o'clock. So all the birth plan stuff was going out the window, and
What made her want to do the planning? Like, was she just super excited about being a mom, or she was nervous about being a mom? You was nervous. Like, what
yeah.
made her want to do all the planning?
Well, she was real excited, and we also read some things about things that help moms during childbirth and
Okay.
things that sometimes hospitals and doctors do that don't help the moms.
Oh,
Like
okay.
like sometimes it's just kind of running the moms through like
Okay.
it's a factory or something,
Yeah, we had that. Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
hear there's a lot of C-sections around dinner time. You know what I mean? There's
Okay.
and sure enough,
Okay.
ours got called in around 8 o'clock. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
is that because it's dinner time, or is that because we really need it?
Yeah. For
But
sure. I'm with you. Okay.
yeah, but either way, and we had to have that a C-section, and Emma was born, and I remember looking at her, and her face was puffy, and we're an interracial couple, so we've been having
Yeah.
dreams about what's this baby gonna look like. We have no
Okay.
idea.
Okay. Like, who's gonna have the like? Is she gonna have the skin tone of Mia or her? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, or even hair. Is it gonna be like a
Okay.
Mariah Carey thing, or is it gonna be, and like,
Okay.
I don't know what we're gonna have, but praise the Lord. Right? And
Yeah.
just had this real thin black hair, and she had this real light peach skin, and I was like, okay, this is my baby girl, and
That's what's
I'm
up.
gonna take care of her, and it changed my life.
What was your emotion? Do you remember the emotion that you had? Because for me, because I didn't have a dad growing up, my
Hmm.
one of my first moments, and I've said this on other podcasts, was that I don't see how anybody could leave something like this. That was my
Yeah,
thought. What
yeah.
about you?
I remember feeling this heavy sense of responsibility, like almost like
Okay.
if somebody put football shoulder pads on my shoulders
Okay.
and said, "Okay, this is your life is different now. You are stewarding this blank slate of a child that
Wow.
one day you're gonna stand in front of the Lord, and He's gonna ask you, what did you do with this child that I
Wow.
gave you?" And I
Wow.
said, okay. So I remember feeling this heavy sense of responsibility, almost
Wow.
almost like I signed up for a brand new job, or I just became a CEO. You know what I mean?
Wow. So where did that come from? Like what because I mean that I didn't feel that, but I
Hmm.
think I felt that before because my situation was we were living with someone and I was trying to get Jen graduated and from college and she was 9 months pregnant or whatever walking across the stage,
Hmm.
and I'm living with someone almost feeling less than a man, but I understood that I had to take a step back and do that in order to go forward. And now I got a kid, so is this job gonna take care? So, but I knew responsibility like way before I became a father and a dad and
Mhm.
and a husband, just because of me, not necessarily because of like a dad, but just because of me being in the word. That's what did it for me, wanting to, have this sense of responsibility and not wanting to fail at this particular point. So like what brought you to a point of, I guess, maturation, or just maturity of knowing that you had to take care of this, and that it was for that to even be a point where you say it's on my shoulders now.
Yeah. So thinking about that, um, growing up, my dad abandoned our family multiple times.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can remember times where it looked like he was walking with the Lord, and he's playing
Mm.
music in church, and then he'll go on a tour, and then he ran off with another woman. So then it's
Oh,
just,
wow.
yeah, and so
And
then it's
y'all knew about that, or did you like? Oh, okay. That's
like
did you find out that later?
I remember being a kid and my mom just being like, "Hey, dad's not coming home. We need to pray for him," and things like
Oh,
that. And so, like that
okay,
happened
okay,
once when I was really young. Like I was probably
okay.
4 or 5.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, and then but I remember like praying with my mom at 4 or 5, and then he
Oh,
came
wow.
home, and then he was following Christ for a little bit, and then he did it again when I turned like 11. Like he ran off.
Dang.
Yeah,
Dang.
and so, but I mean, he struggled. He grew up with a lot of trauma. He didn't have a dad at home, so he didn't know what to do. Um,
Mm.
he didn't have men to kind of hold him accountable and make sure he was doing what he needed to do. He
Yeah,
had a
I
lot
know
of
what you mean.
enabling. Yeah, so I grew up seeing that and just knowing I didn't want my family to be like that. And so
Mm.
I read a lot of books and I tried to find other men that I respected and I could ask them questions and kind of prepare for it. It's almost like somebody that's in football training camp and they're
Uh-huh.
going through the drills and they're going through the practice, but the first time they step on the field and those
Boy,
those
it's
lights hit,
different. It's
yeah,
different. This is not practice. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
know what
So
you mean.
yeah,
That's
so I
what's
felt
up.
like that's what happened to me when I was sitting there holding my baby wrapped up. I was like, okay, this
Okay.
is this is the Friday Night Lights now. Now it's
Yeah, that's crazy. Have you read that book, Friday Night Lights?
I haven't. I know the phrase, but
Yeah,
but
I've been reading it off and on. It's a solid book. So I'm picturing what you're saying, how they had to gear up, and it was a tough night, like every night. So I know what you're saying. So, what books did you read that you would recommend
oh
that
wow.
kind of help you with that? Do you remember?
So I remember reading. Let me think. I'm thinking. I know I can think of books I've read since then.
Okay, that's
For
fair.
example, there's a book called All Pro Dad by Mark
All
Merrill.
Pro Dad.
Yes,
All Pro Dad. Okay.
yeah, it's really good. He does things with Tony Dungy, the NFL Hall of Famer,
Okay.
and they go around the U.S. and they'll hold events at football stadiums and for dads to play with their kids, and then they'll have a guest
Really?
speaker. Yeah, so I know like
What's the
3 years
author
ago,
name again?
it's called All Pro Dad,
Okay.
and like Tony Romo spoke at one in Dallas back when he was playing. They'll
Okay.
have them. They're centered out of Tampa, Florida, though.
I
But
can see that.
yeah, but they do a lot of good stuff, and they even have an article on their website called "10 Ways to Be an All Pro Dad" that I
Really?
really believe in. Yeah.
Okay. Do you
Um,
know any?
oh yeah,
Can you remember the any of the 10 that
I just
helped you the
happened to
most?
pull it up for this interview. If you,
That's what's up. Better be ready, man.
yes, sir. So
Okay.
the first one it says, "Love your wife." And some of the best advice I ever got is that your kids will know if you love them by how you treat their mother.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's true. That's good.
Yeah. The second
So
one
good.
said, "Spend time with your kids." How you invest in them and their time with their time and what they're interested in and what you
Mm.
teach them. You can't do any of that without time.
You can't. On that point, I had asked some gentlemen before I had kids. I was asking, and when I had my kids, when they were younger,
Hmm.
or when I had Gianna when she was younger, I would ask them, like, what is it that you remember about your dad the most? Because their dad was in their life. and they would say the best thing for me was that he was there, like
Mm-hmm.
the time that he spent with us. So they didn't talk about any particular event. They didn't talk about what he brought them, any words that he said. It was just a matter that I remember that vividly. They both said that he was there. So that makes sense. So that's number two,
Yes, sir.
spending time.
Yeah. The number three says be a role model. So model things for them. Show them how to be on time, how to be
Mm,
respectful. Show them how to wake up and make your bed and go to work, and they do the
mm.
things that they see.
That's good, man. That's a good one for me because I don't always do the teaching of how to make a bed. I just tell them, listen, you need to go put your bed together, bro. This is not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And then I try to say, okay, if I like it, then it's good. But if I don't, then you got to redo it. But they don't have a direction. You know. So yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Okay,
Yes,
what
sir.
else?
The next one, it says understand and enjoy your children. So every child is different.
Uh,
Yeah. So actually sit down.
understand,
Mhm.
and enjoy your children.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
we know as believers, the Bible says children are a blessing from the Lord.
that's what it says.
Yeah. So if the God of the universe is going to give you a present, it's not going to be a bad one. He's going to give you a good one.
That's
So
good. That's good. No
yeah.
matter how you think the kid is, like Matt, speaking on that, enjoying your kid. I was at this homeschool event
Hmm.
um in Fort Worth, homeschool convention, several years ago, and this guy was sharing the class with his son, and they was talking about what they learned from each other, you know. And then this guy stood up and he said, "Man, I really want help with how can I deal with my son who is I'm having trouble with him. Like I just cannot figure out what to do with this kid." And the guy says, "Well, I wish I could give you some good advice, but what I can say is that God is probably trying to show you something through your kid because
Hmm.
of how he's acting towards you, maybe how you're acting towards God." So
Exactly.
I was like, "What? What do you mean you can't give good advice? Like that was good." So that's a good point what you just made, for sure. That's what's
Hmm.
up. What's the next one? Or unless you wanted to add on to that.
Yeah, I'll add on to it. So like even I've got one son, and he plays with your son, and
Yeah.
I've got two daughters, and
Yeah.
so he wants to play fight and wrestle and
Yes. Yes. Yes.
jump off of
Yeah.
stuff. And
Yeah.
I try to teach him, look, man, you've got to be gentle with these ladies.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can't be hitting girls and being rough with girls. But
Yeah.
he's also got that testosterone in him. So I'm like, all right.
Exactly.
So one of the ways I can enjoy him is do a little play boxing with him and make some noises
Okay.
and go. Psh, 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 and he really
Yeah.
gets a lot out of that. And
That's a good
and
point.
yeah, so that's one of the ways I enjoy him. Or at bedtime, I'll talk to him for a little bit and find out what he's thinking about or what kind of things he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I try
That's
to
what's up.
and I try to do it with all of them. But that's an example from tonight. I sat and talked to him, and he said he felt disrespected by something one of his sisters did, and I had to help him unpack it.
He's 6 and he's telling you that he felt disrespected. That's big time.
Yeah, well, he didn't use that phrase. He said
Okay.
she's being mean to me, and I had to help
Okay.
unpack it. And I kind
Okay.
of rephrased like, okay, so you're saying you felt disrespected by
Okay.
what she did, and he's like, yeah. And I said, okay.
Oh wow, that's what's up, man. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. I think that's key. One of the things that we try to do is if they are having a disagreement, as long as they're not yelling, we're not necessarily coming in to figure it out. But if they can't figure it out, then we tell them, well, we're gonna have to figure it out for you, right?
Hmm.
But at the same time, I think that sometimes my wife and I don't do a good job of modeling how they should communicate their frustration.
Hmm.
So you saying that is a very good reminder of me making sure that you know that I'm aware of what I say to my wife, because that goes back to the number one, like how am I loving my wife through my communication. So that's pretty good. Okay, that's what's up. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, but you over here teaching me. I'm listening.
That's what good interviews are, right? We
For
take
sure.
from give to each other.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And you're
What number are you on?
all right. We are on number 5.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so 5 is show affection. So a lot of times, at least it's been an old stereotype. I've heard people say, "My dad never told me I love him, or that he loves me." You know what I mean?
Yes,
And my
yes.
dad was always stern and tough and looked like a chiseled rock. But they need
Mm.
to know that we actually do care about them, and we treasure them, especially little girls. They want to know
Oh,
they're cherished. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And
That's
if
a
they,
good one.
and I'm sure you see it from your daughters. They want to know
Yeah.
that they have their eye. And one day, it's good. One of my jobs is going to be to help transfer her heart for affection to her husband. But I've got
Mm,
to help set her up for success through that. So
that's good, bro.
so if
That's
some
good.
so if some little boy comes by and just said, "Hey, baby, I think start smooth talking her," he's like, "That's
Yeah.
foreign to me. That's not affection."
That's what's up. Yeah, because my daughter's 11, and she uh I think she said something about, she doesn't really talk about boys, but mom has that conversation with her, and she hasn't necessarily told me, but my wife has told me. And so what we've done, I haven't done it lately, and that's not good on my part. As far as we used to go on little dad daughter dates,
Hmm.
and just to have those different conversations. She looked forward to like the daddy daughter dances. She likes that I go to her softball games and take her to practice, because when we go, because she usually is only me and her when I'm taking her to practice, right? And so we get to just dialogue about different things. And to your point, there's just this happened like just last week. I was communicating to her about how that she doesn't play like she's great at this game, being 11, at softball.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking that I'm yelling and trying not to, because I'm dad. Like my son, he gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving him all the smoke.
Yeah.
But this is my daughter, so I got to talk to her in a way that I would be okay with seeing her husband talk to her, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
And and I told Josh, I said, "Do you want me to yell at you like I was yelling at Gianna?" And she was like, "Dad, you weren't yelling at me,
Mm-hmm.
right?" And so just to understand that because of the relationship that we have been having through the course of me just taking her to softball practice, this particular time she didn't even see as though I was yelling at her. She saw it as me just coaching her. So
Hmm.
that's a good point what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a good example too, because you already have that investment in her and that relationship of understanding, and to
Yeah.
where
Right.
yeah, she can accept that from you and know it's still in a caring place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up. Number and so you're on number 6.
Number 6. So it says, secure your family's financial future is a way you can be an all pro dad.
Hmm.
So for us, like it says, hate debt, because we spent a long time trying to pay off debt, and
Man.
mostly college, just the college debt. I tell people I got my wife, my degree, and my loans all at the same spot.
That's me too.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
thought about this. Yes, I did. Golly. So y'all able to pay them off, or y'all still working on it, or where y'all at?
yeah. So we paid off our student loans. We did that
Wow.
about a year and a
Big.
half ago,
Wow.
and that's been a huge burden off of us, because now we can
Absolutely.
we can put all of that into retirement so that I can
Wow.
take care of mama when we're old, and
Yeah.
uh, we can start saving for these kids to go to college so they don't have the same problems that we had and have to
Yeah.
spend 9 years paying off debt.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I have a long way to go to pay off mine, dude. It's because I'm going back to get my doctorate. And
Mhm.
so it's this is, and then I didn't even think about paying it back until like it was time to pay it, until they was calling me. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm,
was way after 6 months. Like, man, listen, y'all gave me money. You know what I'm saying? Y'all shouldn't have gave it to me. Like that was my thought. That was my thought process. Now I'm like, how can I get this off of me? Because as you said, it is a weight, and I don't. And for us, we don't talk about going to college unless they want to. We
mhm,
talk about if you want to go, you got to pay for it yourself. We're willing to save money to put into whatever business venture you want, or if you graduate, then or if you want a honeymoon or or a wedding. So that's what we talk to our kids about. uh and so what Jen did, she said, okay, if you want to go to college, Gianna, okay, let's see what it is that you want to do to see if the college makes sense.
mhm,
She wants to be a zoologist, right? So Jen says, okay, let's see what's the requirements, and then let's see how much they make. And so
mhm,
they did that a year ago, or whatever. And Gianna was at the point she's like, I don't know if I want to go
mhm,
because she saw how much they made, but then she couldn't move past her passion, right? She couldn't move past the passion of wanting to be a zoologist. So she came back and said, listen, I know I got to go to college, so I got to figure out a way to get there. And she just recently figured that softball could be that ticket. That happened like 3 weeks ago. And
mm,
I was talking to her about, it's like, you're good enough to get a scholarship, as far as not yet, but you can see the potential in the kid.
mhm.
Okay. And I was telling her that, and she remembered that. And she came back and told me that, she likes softball, and she sees it as a way to get a scholarship. And just a short illustration of how good she's become. She's been at bat maybe like 9 times. She's only had one strikeout, and she's only been thrown out once
Mm.
in the last in her 9 at bats. On this past Saturday, she had a double and two RBIs on the same play,
Wow, nice.
right? And she got the only game ball on her team this tonight. So that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying? So that's just to say that she's thinking about college, and she's thinking about how to figure out a way to get there, even now at 11. So
Yeah.
that makes sense though what you're saying. I'm trying to get out of debt, bro. I don't know. I think I might die in debt. I hope I don't.
No, yeah, you don't have to.
I know. I know. That's why I'm doing the real estate game. I'm trying to well, I'm not trying, like that's what I'm doing, trying to figure out a way to as you said, what was it? What was it said? It said make sure that your family is
Oh yeah, secure your family's financial future.
yeah, secure your family financial future. That's what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying, with
Mhm.
the real estate. And to your do you I'm gonna ask you this question. Do you talk to your family about your kids about like what you make and what you do?
So I don't tell them how much money I make
Okay.
because they got loose lips, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And so I don't need them going and telling somebody how much money I make and I got to hear
okay.
about it. But
Okay.
I do tell them, like I'll say, look, guys, we're setting aside. We pay for the house, so we have a place to live. We make sure our cars work. We make sure we have clothes. We make sure we have food. Those are the four walls, right?
Mm,
Transportation, housing, um, food, and clothing.
okay.
After that, because we believe in the Dave Ramsey baby steps. So we say
That's
you got to
true.
have your emergency fund, you got to pay off your debt. And then so after that, I tell them, okay, we've got our emergency savings. So if something big happens, like last week, our washer broke and the
Mm,
motor went bad, but it wasn't this big deal. I just said, okay, we're gonna have to get another machine, and
mm,
and we felt like it wasn't an emergency problem is to add all this stress because we had the
right.
thing saved up for it. And
Right.
so then we tell them, all right, so now what we're doing is we're trying to save money for retirement so that when mom and dad are old, we don't have to come bum off of you guys. We can be blessings to you guys.
Yes, what's up? Okay, that's a
Yeah.
very good way to put it.
Yeah, y'all can focus on your own family and your own goals. You don't have to worry about feeding mom and dad because we're
Yeah.
trying to save money for that now. And we'll tell them the
Okay.
story of like the ant and the grasshopper, how the ants worked hard for later and the grasshopper was fooling around and then didn't have anything for later.
That's
Um,
cool.
and
That's
then
cool.
for college, we'll tell them we want them to have the opportunity to go, but we also talk to them about trade school because
Yes.
yeah, because I'll tell them like, look, if you want to be an electrician or if you tell me you want to be a computer programmer, you don't have to go to college for that. You can just take your courses you need and save all that grief, and you can go right into it.
You just say save your grief.
Yeah, you don't have to go through all that. You can,
Yeah, that's a good point. When you said save your grief, that's a good point.
yeah,
It was man, having the mindset that you have to graduate from college, like man, like why was that implanted in my head? When for me, I'm a entrepreneur by I mean to the core of me. Like me working for people don't do well. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I wish I would have went to like a business school. But matter of fact, what's crazy when I my senior year in high school, I applied to this business school in Rhode Island,
Mm,
and I think I got accepted. I can't remember, but my mom was like, "You can't go that far."
mm,
I was like, "They said 98% of their people get a job though." She's
yeah,
like, "It's too far."
yeah. That's hard when it's mama too. You can't. What
Yeah,
do you do?
yeah, exactly. So you got to be somewhere close, and so I had to go to Stephen F. Austin. Not a bad school, but I just did it just wasn't a business school like that. So it makes sense with you. I'm just looking back on what you're saying is like, listen, trade school makes sense. You got to put that out there. Trade school is okay.
Right. And like I did all that to get a degree and to be a professional counselor. And then by the time I got ready to use it, I said, well, now I'm 20, 26, 27 when I got my degree instead of 21, 22. I can't step into that right now. But
Right.
I learned about life coaching, which is almost the same thing, except life coaches aren't regulated by the government the same way a counselor is. They
Okay.
they still have a lot of the same skills, and it was really fit more what I wanted to do, which was Christian counseling and
I
marriage
can see that.
counseling.
Yeah.
Yes. But if somebody would have told me at 16, 17, hey, you can be a life coach and still do
Yeah.
something else, I wouldn't have had that $40,000 worth of debt. It took me 8, 9 years to pay off,
Right. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Man, but I mean, as they say, what you don't know, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So, as that's the whole purpose of us trying to steward our kids well, right? We're trying to tell you that this is what we did, and we're here where you want to be. So let me kind of help you to not make the same decisions that I made. I mean, because I can't say all of them were mistakes, because I told Gianna, I said, if this would have happened, say this would have happened, she comes back and tells me, she said, well, that means you would have never had me. And
Mm.
I'm like, that's a good point, babe. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't say that, you know what I'm saying? Like these decisions that I've made allowed me to have these 4 kids that I got.
right. And it's like you've heard of 2020 vision before, right?
Absolutely.
So somebody told me once we need to have 50/20 vision too, and they meant we need to remember Genesis 50/20. And so
Okay. What's that one?
Genesis Genesis 50/20 is when Jacob is, he's second in command in Egypt, and he sees his brothers, and he tells them, what you meant for evil for me, the Lord turned to good, the saving
Yeah.
of many lives. And so
Mm, yeah,
so,
that's good.
if you don't know the story, if you're listening, he basically was sold into slavery by his brothers. He got thrown into prison for being accused of sexual assault by
Yeah.
like a high-ranking government official, and but the Lord didn't forget him, and the Lord used all of that and
Yeah.
brought him up to be second in command. So sometimes our mistakes and our roads and the things that have happened to us, God can still use it for
Absolutely.
whatever He wants to. So you're
Absolutely.
right.
That's a good word right there, man. This makes sense, man. What's the next one you got? Were we on 7 or 8?
So the next one's 7,
These are so
and
good, man.
yeah, thank you.
You didn't took over the interview, man. I appreciate
All right.
it.
So the next one, it says eat together as a family, and this is one
Is
I
there a particular way? Is there? Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna ask a question. What do they mean by
yeah. So
that?
like sitting
Amen.
down at the dinner table together,
Okay.
having conversations. Some Ronald Reagan talked one time about the most important thing a family can do is have dinner together, and because you can talk, you can find out what people are thinking about. You kind of
That's
slow down.
true.
But if everybody's running, if it's fast food to here and there, or people setting up the TV tray and looking at the TV, you're not connecting with each other. So I really value
Yeah.
that sitting down and eating together. And like I leave for work before anybody in my family is awake, so I don't get to eat
Okay.
breakfast. I don't get to eat lunch with them because I'm gone. That dinner time every night,
Mm,
my time to sit and focus and find out where everybody's been.
that's
And
good. That's good, man. Do y'all do that every night or most nights, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, most nights. I mean, some nights like Mama will have a Bible study on a Tuesday night, or we'll be at the church on a Wednesday, and I've got to meet them up there. But almost every other night, almost every day we'll sit together and we'll talk and we ask questions. What's your favorite part of the day been? And people can kind of unpack that.
That's cool. Cause then they love to talk too.
Oh yeah, them kids love to talk.
They love to talk because I know like what we do. We'll eat dinner together. We usually are watching something, but we're commenting on what it is that we're watching. Uh,
Mhm.
because we are a family that loves to watch certain movies or find a particular show that we'll watch together, and you know we'll even talk about those times. But I do remember the times that we would not have the TV on, and how much was gained from that. I know when I was not at the house, they would have these conversations, but everybody would want me to have their attention, because Dad hadn't been home all day. But now that I'm home, one of the things that we do every morning, we don't eat breakfast together, but we do Bible study every morning. And I was using Right Now Media, but then I changed it, because I felt led to change it to where we're going through Romans. And so we read and then we talk about what we feel like it's saying, and then we go from there. We give our takeaways or whatever, and that, to me, for me, has been valuable because I get to hear how they're thinking about the word.
Mhm.
Ethan, because he's reading, but he doesn't read as well as his brother and sister. So what he has to do, he has to write down what it is that he's hearing.
Mhm.
He has to spell the words as best as he can. I don't care if he messes up on any of his spelling, as long as he can communicate to me, and he'll draw a picture of what
Mhm.
his lesson was. So that is what we have been. That's what I've been able to do and appreciate that since I've been able to be home to do the most, and that's about 30 minutes or something. And so that's been very enriching. So we don't do dinner like that, like I wish we would, because we've kind of changed it to where we would do something different. But we do the Bible study, and I'm able to hear their thought processes. And they ask some really tough questions. I have questions that I'm like, I don't know. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
that's good. And I wish I could do better at the Bible study with them. And sometimes
you gotta do what you can.
yeah, and I'll sit and read with them. But I definitely need to get better at um, making sure they're intentional about the word. Sometimes I battle with them. They want to be intentional about their electronic time,
Yes.
and I remember a day they acted like they cared more about electronics than they cared about going to church. And I about to put the TV on the street, Elijah, for somebody to pick up. I said, we don't
So
have
you was
false
hot,
idols.
bro.
Yeah,
You
I said
was
we don't have
I
false
can't.
idols in this.
Bernie gets upset.
Oh yes,
Man,
sir.
I always see you with a smile, bro. So put
And I was
it
upset,
on
but
the T. Oh wow.
I had to tell the mentor at church. I said, "I'm sorry. I don't think I handled this right. I was about to put the TV on the street." And they said, "Yeah, you could have done better, Birmingham." So,
Hey, it comes like that sometimes, man.
mhm,
We give them 1 hour a day during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday they got 2 hours. But if they do not do their work, excuse me, if they don't finish on time, we have a set time that they have for the day. If they don't finish, then their time is taken away. Or if they did something wrong, I guess in class,
mhm,
in homeschooling class, then they'll lose some time. So that has helped Joshua and Gianna, but we're still trying to figure out what helps Ethan uh, get to the point of like I want to get this done so I won't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like 6 year olds are just Ethan. I'm gonna say 6 year olds. I'm gonna say Ethan and Micah are some interesting young people. So yeah. So that's what we've been trying to do. All right. So I don't want to keep you long. So come tell us what 8, 9, 10 are.
Oh yeah, you're good. All right, so 8 says discipline with a gentle spirit.
How you
Let
do
him.
that?
So, something that's helped me, and I probably learned this in a marriage class, is that you have to um, do something called front loading, where you bring before you start talking with your message, you kind of set up what it's about. So I'll say, "Hey, I'm about to talk to you about something that's pretty difficult. I want you to know I care about you, but this is going to be kind of a hard conversation."
Mm,
Or you say, um, "I want you to know I love you and I'm always here for you, but right now I'm disappointed and we're going to have to talk about what happened."
wow. Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay. Okay.
so you do that instead of, like a bad role model example is like the wrestlers or WWE kind of stuff, where they come down the aisle all big and bad and putting fear into people. Like we don't want to put fear
Mm,
into them that way. We want them to
yeah.
have an understanding of what just happened and what they need to know and what they need to do next time.
That's good, man. That's
Hmm.
good. I'm just replaying some situations where I could have definitely handled uh some situations different because I'm not a yeller uh unless you probably did the same wrong thing like 10 times in a row. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so, and I think for me, because I was a teacher and understanding that they're gonna make these many mistakes, like they're gonna make several mistakes until they get it. And so I gotta get to the point of okay, listen, okay, I, now tell me if I'm wrong. And this is what I tell them. I tell Gianna or Joshua, okay. So tell me if I did not tell you this before. Like Gianna, she rolled her eyes at me one time. I know I keep going back to Gianna, but she's had the most experience as my kid. You know
Oh,
what
of course, yeah.
I'm saying? So I said, she rolled her eyes at me. I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna just take your time from you, just like that. And she was like, but Dad, I said, so you saying that we never had this conversation before? She said, but I wasn't trying to. I said, well, you have to what you have to figure that out on next time.
Hmm.
How about that one? What do you think about that one? Was that
Okay.
how could I handle that one?
Okay. So, all right. So something that I learned too when I was a teacher, they had these things. They're called the 4 questions. So the 4 questions were: what are you doing? What are you supposed to be doing? Where are you doing it? And what are you going to do now? So,
Okay, yes. Yes. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
you'd be like, "What were you just doing?" And she could try to tell you. You say, "Well, I thought you were rolling your eyes at me," and what have we talked about doing instead of rolling your eyes? If you feel frustrated, because hey,
Uh-huh.
it's frustration is not a sin, but how you
Yeah,
express it can be sinful. So,
that's good.
all right, and
Yeah,
then okay,
frustration not a sin, but how you showcase it can be. Okay.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then if she already knows, so like your example, have we ever had this conversation before? It's like, like I tell my kids go make their bed, and I'll turn around and they're playing with toys, and I'll say, "What are you?"
No, I'm laughing so hard because I just relived that moment that we do that every night. Golly, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. Go ahead.
What are you doing? Playing with toys? What are you supposed to be doing? Making my bed? Were you making your bed? No. All right. Well, what are you gonna do now? Go make my bed. And,
Okay.
and sometimes it's what's gonna happen if I find out you're not making your bed again, and then they kind of set up their own consequence, like I lose
Mm,
time, or
that's
I
a good
don't
one.
look in my bed, or whatever it is.
I like that. You're gonna have to send that one to me, bro. Like I like that one a lot. I may have to listen to this again to try to put that in the notes or something.
Okay.
That's a really good one. Okay, cool. What's the next one you got? This is solid, bro. Like let me pause real quick. Like this right here is the I think what is so fascinating about being able to interview you guys
Mm-hmm.
is that I never thought that I was doing it to learn so much from you. Like I was doing it so that I could help other people. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking that I got it all to myself, but each person, I don't know if you got to listen to any of the other ones, but
Oh,
they have if you get a chance to, each one of them drop some type of nugget that I didn't I had no idea that they was doing, first of all. And that is something simple that I could actually implement into being a better dad. So I'm like, and then each interview is different in how it flows. So right now we're doing like the top 10 pro dad statements, but then we're able to spin off of like how we seeing that in real time, right?
yes,
So
sir.
I just think that's dope, man. Thank you for that, bro.
Hey, you
Okay,
too.
go ahead.
All right. So this next one, number 9, says pray and worship together. And
Mm,
so it says you have to be able to pray together. And if you think about it, who else is going to pray for your family if you don't do it? You know,
Nobody.
nobody. So I don't want anybody to go without being prayed for. So I said, at least let
Mm,
me take care of my own wife and my own kids, make sure I pray for them and pray with them and teach them how to pray.
that's good.
How do you go to God with a humble heart? It's not just you run through the script every time you eat dinner.
Yeah,
Because I say all the time, I'd say, how would your mama like it if the only time I brought her flowers and was nice to her was on Valentine's Day because I was supposed to? Will she appreciate that? And they say no. I say, well, you can't only talk to God when you're about to eat. You got to talk to him other times too.
that's good, bro. That's really good. Just to expound upon that, I what we do, we pray every night. We pray after Bible study, but what we do, everybody we grab hands and um, we pray, and everybody has a day that they pray. And so mommy and daddy have two days apiece, and you have Gianna, Joshua, and Ethan have a day that they pray, and we haven't necessarily did a good job of trying to teach them how to pray, other than to just let's hear what you have to say,
Mm-hmm.
and let's hear how you're going to communicate to God. And then after they pray, we'll talk about, okay, like Gianna, pray tonight. Joshua will pray tomorrow. Ethan, he used to say, and he'd say after everything, he would say, "Thank you, God." And then, okay, thank you for this, God. Thank you for this. And then we'll be able to talk to him about, okay, well, you don't necessarily have to say that every time, but these are some of the things that you can thank him for as well. Gianna, she prayed for like for her to what did she say? For her to have a good game tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say anything about her team.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saying you hope you do good, but not your team.
She's trying to be a zoologist. She's trying to get. She said, "Let me get that scholarship, Lord."
That's probably what it was. And then when she heard us say that, she was like, "Oh man, I did, I didn't mean that." But that's
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. You got to pray together. It's a big deal, man. It,
Yeah.
it changes them in a major way. We haven't worshiped together And I gotta figure out a way to do that. I mean, we do Bible study and we do listen to some music before, but it's different for them to see you worship.
Hmm.
It's different because yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not always through music too. You know,
Okay.
like for example, we helped a widow at the church last weekend
Okay.
clean up her yard, and Micah came with me, and that was
Okay.
a worship, and I could tell him, you know, the Lord gave you those arms and legs to pick up these twigs and sticks. We can tell
Okay.
him thank you that he gave you a body that works by
Okay.
using it to help, you know, this lady that doesn't have her husband anymore, and that's a
Mm, that's dope. Okay, that's good to know, especially for anybody that's listening, because that's what I'm thinking was
mhm.
from worshiping through music, but obviously you can worship through other means, right? That's
Yeah,
what's up. So we on to number 9 or 10.
that was number 9, pray and worship together.
Pray and worship together.
And number 10 says, realize you're a father forever. So yeah, well, your father forever. So, you know, our senior pastor, Pastor John, talks about the different stages of fatherhood. And
Yes,
so,
they're like five, right?
yeah, there's like 4 or 5. They all start with a C because that's what
Yes.
Baptists, you know, everything start with a C.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, at some point, you become a coach. And then when they're old enough to make their own choices, you're like a consultant, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
even when they're grown and gone, you're still a father. You're just being a consultant.
That's
And
good. Y'all remember that.
mm,
That's good, man. I really value that. I remember when he talked me through that like some years ago, and I was like, man, that's what I want to make sure that I'm being. I want because uh, how you nurture them through the process of when they leave out of your house will dictate if they even want your counseling.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So you can't say you're going to be somebody's counselor if they don't want you to be,
right.
right? You're a counselor. Like if the person don't come to you, there's no way that you can counsel them. And so my mind is trying to figure out like how can I make sure I'm spending enough time? How can I make sure that I am finding their love language? How can I make sure that that I'm doing what it is that they're needing from me? Like I even do scorecards from my kids in the sense of I'll ask them like, "How is Daddy doing?" You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like I used to do it a lot before now, but every now and then I'll say like, "Can y'all tell me what I'm needing to do? What is Daddy missing from you?" Joshua will come up to me. He'll be like, "Hey, can we go hang out?" You know what I'm saying? Josh will say, "Can we go hang out?" He'll say, "Hey, when the next time can we roll out as a family?" Because that's Joshua's love language. He doesn't want to be with Daddy by himself necessarily. He wants the entire family to go out because he feels like he's preparing himself to be a dad.
Hmm.
Those are the conversations that Joshua has. So yeah, that totally makes sense, man. That's really good.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, and like you said, if a client doesn't like their counselor, they can fire them. But it's hard to fire a family, so you don't want to have to get in a place where you have to think about that. You build the relationship up and start when they're young, when it's easy, and then when it gets tougher, the older they get, they can still go back to the foundation that we built.
That's what's up, man. Well, this is what I'm gonna do, okay? Because I got a couple questions. These are the last four questions, right? Now, can you tell us what that you'll need to send me that link, uh, so I can put it in my information. Just email it to me. That'll be the easiest thing. If you have my email.
I do. I can put it in this little in this chat box over here too. I don't know if
Oh,
it'll show
okay.
up.
All right, cool. Yeah,
That's the
I
article
haven't
for it.
used it before, so hopefully it'll work.
I'll email it to
All right. So I'm gonna ask you three questions that are just fun questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So you're gonna have to pick a number 1 through 44.
you. Oh man. All right, let's see. I'm gonna pick 33 for Patrick Ewing. So let's go 33.
Ooh, okay, Patrick Ewing. That's what's up. Okay. What's the best gift you ever received? What's the best gift you've ever given?
Oh man. So gifts is not my love language at all. Um, but I know I've gotten some good ones. I think
Okay.
when I was a kid, I remember when the Nintendo 64 was the Christmas toy.
Yeah.
My grandparents mailed me one, and they told me later it was real hard to find. They said my grandfather went all over South Dallas trying to find a
Serious?
Nintendo 64. Yeah, and they
What?
found one and mailed it to us while we were living in New York. So he sent that up there for us.
Oh wow, your grandfather. Hey, listen, he was courageous to be traveling around South Dallas trying to look for that. Shout out, shout out to South Dallas. I lived in South Dallas when I was a little kid. All
Yeah,
right,
that's good.
yeah, that's what's up. All right, so okay, another question. 1 through 44.
All right, let's go with 16.
Okay. Number 16 is, what was your favorite family tradition when you were growing up?
Oh man. All right. Favorite family tradition was definitely at Christmas time. What we would do is we'd always take this picture together. My brother, my sister, and my cousins would take a picture in front of the Christmas tree,
Okay.
and do
Who's
it
ta-
every year. Tell me again.
who's taking the picture?
Oh, like my grandmother.
Okay.
So we'd go to our grandparents' house for Christmas, and she'd take the picture of us, and then somebody new would be born, and then we'd get the new picture, and somebody be holding the baby or putting the baby in their lap,
Okay.
and we just keep taking pictures like that, and that was something I really looked forward to, and we could go in their family room and see all the pictures from as we got older every Christmas.
Cool. Do you have any currently?
I don't. When my grandmother died, there was kind of a raid done on our house, like by different family members, kind of taking
Okay.
stuff out. So
Okay.
somebody I love dearly got a bunch of the pictures. Maybe they'll show back
Uh,
up one
oh
day.
wow. That's okay. That's what's up, man. Okay. 1 through 44. What number you got?
All right. Let's see. We'll do 30. This is high pressure. I'll do 37.
Hmm. 37. Okay. This is a good one. What are you most proud of in life?
Oh man, what I'm most proud of. I think the first thing I went to is what I'm most humble about.
Okay.
So Um, just to set some context, every year, our pastor does a cross service for Easter, where he'll sit there and he'll bring the wood out and he'll get a hammer and nails or a little axe, and he'll sit there and chop and build a cross, and then tell the story of the whole gospel
Yeah.
about how we're sinners and we broke God's law, and somebody's got to pay for that crime, and the only way
Yeah.
to pay for it is through death. But he wanted Jesus to pay for that crime for us. And he says, the
Yeah.
innocent for the guilty, the innocent for the guilty. And it takes it back to the animal sacrifice, was the innocent paying for the
Mm.
guilty. And
Yeah.
then one year he sat there, he hoisted the whole cross up, and I'm sitting there looking at it and thinking, that should be me on that cross, you know.
Wow.
Jesus didn't do anything wrong. I've defied a holy God. I broke his laws. I broke his commandments. That should be me up there.
Yeah.
But he loves a joker like me enough to do all of that just for me, so
Mm.
that I don't have to be on there.
Right.
And I remember sitting in the back crying, and people were walking up to me like, "Bernie, are you okay?"
You must have been boo-hooing, bruh.
I was sitting there like I was crying. I wasn't like
Mm.
deep making noises, but I look like Michael Jordan in those memes with the tears coming
Oh,
down his face.
okay. Okay. That's funny.
Yeah, so I'm
Um,
just so thankful that God would do something like that.
right.
There's no we love superhero stories in our culture where the hero saves the innocent people and the
Yeah.
bystanders, but that's the only story where the hero died for the villain. You know what I mean? But
Wow. Wow.
so so I
That's a
was
pause moment, D. Yeah. We are
yeah,
the villains.
we're the villains. He died
Right?
for us, so
Die
we
for
could we could be right.
That's dope, man. Way to ooh, look at you. Way to end that one, bro. That was that question was meant to be asked, wasn't it?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And you the first person to say 16.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's what's up. Okay. So the last question that I have for you is maybe a twofold question. What would you like for your how would you like for your kids to remember you? And what is something that you would tell your younger self?
Okay. So I want my kids, most of all, to remember that I love God and that I love their mother. Because I really believe that they can know that you love them by how you treat their mother.
Mm,
And so I really want them to know I treated their mama well. I dated their mother. I apologized to their mother. I wanted her to be comfortable. I honored her in front of them. Things like that, and that also that I care about them too. But I really want them to know that I cared about their mother because that's where most of their affection is going to come from.
that's true.
I also want them to remember that I cared about them being good disciples and being disciplined,
Mm,
uh, disciples of Christ, and also just I don't want to say good rule followers, but I want them to know that you can't get far in life if you don't honor God and do things His way. So like sometimes I'll sit them down and I remember I had a conversation with some of them and I had to read them the scripture that says, "Children, obey your parents, so you will live long in the land."
I remember that. Yeah, I did that too. Yeah.
Do you know why it says so you live long in the land? And it's because if you do this foolish stuff, you're not going to live very long, and we want you to live long.
You told them.
Yeah, I said like we tell you not to run in the street, but if you say I'm gonna run in the street anyway, you're not gonna live long.
That's true. That's
And
good.
if you act up in front of a police officer, he might have to make a decision, and you might not live very long. Just things like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
so we'll say you need to. I'm trying to teach you to obey God's rules. I'm not making these up to be mean, but I want you to live long.
that's good
And
stuff.
and what was the last part of your question? I'm trying to
What would
remember.
you want? What would you say to your younger self about being a dad?
Oh man, I would say you've really got to cherish these kids when they get on your nerves.
Mm,
You
yeah,
really do.
yeah, that's good. You got to cherish the kids when they get on your nerves. Yeah,
They do. They cook my grits, as I say.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
not trying. They're not waking up saying I'm a give dad the smoke today. There's
Right, right.
they
That's
just they,
man, that is so good. Yeah,
mhm.
that's a solid nugget, man. You've provided us with some. I mean, even though you was, maybe reciting or you cited another source, there are people that didn't even know about that source, and you allowed us to be a part of that and learn some things about ourselves, what's missing from us, and even maybe some of the things that we were doing and didn't even know that was helping us be an all pro dad. So that's what this channel is. My channel is different subjects, but this particular part of it, is very important to other people that are watching, other men specifically, of what it looks like to be a dad. Like all of the things that you mentioned were practical things.
Thank you. Yeah, to God be the glory. I'm glad we could talk about it and share.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to thank you for your time. Anybody out there that's watching, hope that you like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. Give a shout out to Bernie. Before we go, any last words, sir?
Oh man, treat your kids right. Mr. T said, treat your mother right and treat your kids' mothers right, and follow God. And that's like that's all I got.
That's what's up. Well, thank you, Bernie. You have a good night, man. Glad you could join us, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. See you, everybody.
All right, bye.